Well, how's it going? As you're thinking about the stories that you need to tell that will illustrate to people what you can do and how well you can do it, and perhaps putting together physically, in reality, putting together that story card. And by the way, that's something that you can always do, not only in a formal setup, but here's one of those free tips again. I said I'd give you 7, but I'm going to give you a lot more. Please remember that there may be all kinds of people who you don't know whether they have a job or know of any, but you can pass that out. Now, let's say that you've passed the word out. Maybe you're looking for work and you're looking for an opportunity, and perhaps people in your place of worship or your friendship circle, in your fitness club, the circles of people you run around with are with, and some of them will realize that perhaps you could use some help. And so it's very often that a significant person who cares about you might say is, "How can I help you?" Now, whenever that happens, now this is really important. When someone says, "How can I help you?" you have to have your script down strong. You perk up, you say, "Thank you very much. This is what I need." And you tell them specifically, with clarity, something they can do that's easy for them to remember. I would be grateful if you discover anyone who's looking for someone in bookkeeping, that you recommend me to them. I would be grateful if you would read my story card and then pass that on, or at least tell people about me. Now, along with your story card, you might want to print up a business card. You say, "But Stan, I don't have a job." I didn't say the job card, a business card. Everybody has a business, and perhaps you can put that on there. If nothing else, a business card used to be called a calling card. And all it was it had your name, it had your contact information. And perhaps one of the things you do is you just simply have a nice card printed up with your name, perhaps maybe a description of who you are or what you do, and then your contact information, so that people don't have to write it down. They don't have to, try and remember it. So you have perhaps your story card and you have your calling card. This is how you can reach me. This is how you can recommend me. Very simply, have that with you all the time. And of course, you're dressed appropriately all the time, and you can pass that on. Again, that's kind of a free thing, but that's very important to know. When someone says, "How can I help you?" be ready to tell them specifically how you can do that. Now, with that in mind, I talked about telling your story. Now, this is going to lead to the next thing that I'm going to recommend. One of the new things, and I don't know if you have ever been taught this before in looking for the first job or the next job, but here's what you're going to have to do, I believe. Please remember that one of the most effective presidents, now you may or may not like his politics, was Ronald Reagan. Very effective, very powerful, achieved a great deal. And what did Ronald Reagan do before he became a political figure? Because he wasn't a lifelong political figure. Well, many of you know Ronald Reagan was a Western cowboy actor. He literally grew up, first of all, doing radio in a very interesting way. And if you want to find the story about how he actually would do the announcing for a baseball game in which he was not there, it goes back many years. He would do the announcing of a game in which he was simply getting some telegraph reports. Then he went into acting. Now, if acting bothers you, use the word performing. Someone will tell you this with great truth, and that someone is me. Okay? All business is show business. You have to show up and you have to show every day how good you are. It's a gig economy, and many of you know what I mean. A gig is the term that performers, band members, singers, people who are in the performing arts, when they get an assignment, when they get a role, it's called a gig. And sometimes you don't even have a regular job. You're going day by day, week by week, trying to find a role to play. Now, I'm going to encourage you to do a couple things. First of all, it might be a very interesting thing to just get a little training in how a person does acting. Now, I'm not saying go to an acting class, but if there is in your community college or somebody you know that perhaps can give you some lessons or some demonstrations in some of the things that go into presenting yourself, walking, how you do the things that make you stand out, give you status, how you walk. One of the things that they used to say about the cowboys is they walked tall. They were tall in the saddle. Things like your posture, your presentation, your body language, the way you focus, the way you pay attention, those are acting or, remember, performing skills. And I'm going to encourage you to get a little training and awareness in how you can be a performer and how you might put those skills into the work you do and when you audition or interview or make your presentations. Part of that is obviously a preference of mine. I'm a broadcaster. I love broadcasting. I've spent years in radio primarily. As I oftentimes say, you can tell I've got a face made for radio. I love radio. I've learned a great deal about how you can present yourself and how you can then present yourself using the video media. I would really encourage you to get some media training. It is a 21st century world. People watch YouTubes, they watch things on the internet, they hear. The cell phone has now become the smartphone, the computer has now become the tablet, cars are now being equipped with internet capability, and that's how people are getting their information. And if you're going to make it in the media savvy, media saturated world of the modern business world, it's really important that you at least gain some skills in the broadcasting arts. Now, we'll be offering classes and courses in that. I'm just simply trying to encourage you right now. That's one of the new things you need to know about the job work that's before you, about finding that new opportunity. That's vital. Remember, as someone said to me, work is theater, and every business is a stage. Work is theater. You're always performing. And every business is a stage. And you're trying to put on such a great show and such a good experience that people recommend you to others, and they want to come back and do business with you and be a part of the show once again. So, I'm going to encourage you, maybe even challenge you, to take some time to learn the performing arts. One of the things you need to know to get the next job, better job, maybe even best job. Find the first job today. More to come. Thank you for your time. All the best to you, but hang around. We've got some more stories and more shows coming forward.